everyone, Amina here with the Float Small Business Podcast, speaking with Lisa Schneiderman, a PR professional who made a really smart and impactful pivot in her business during COVID-19. And I think that she's going to have some really great advice for those of us looking to connect on a deeper level with our customers and with our audiences moving forward. Thanks so much, Lisa.
Well, thank you so much, Amina, for having me. And I'm really inspired by what you're doing for small businesses, and I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. Thank you. I've always been fascinated by PR. There are so many different facets and worlds of storytelling, and this is not really an aspect that I regularly deal with. And I wonder how many people out there truly understand what it is, what a publicist really does day to day.
So we've got marketing, and when you talk about social media, we call that digital marketing. Mm-hmm. We have public relations, which is sort of the larger overarching umbrella that has marketing, digital marketing, and communications all wrapped together.
Because I've always lumped PR with getting journalists to want to write about you, but it sounds like that's just a really small piece of it.
It is. It's definitely one lane. So when I teach my classes, it's all about, media outreach, right? How do you get a journalist to be interested and inspired about your body of work, about your topic, about, your passion, right? And then how do you create content? And this would be for the digital marketing lane for social media. How do you create content that will attract your ideal client? And then you've got the overarching communication, which I call that messaging. How are you going to best create your content that will be interesting and inspiring to an audience? Mm-hmm. So when I work with my clients, it's really all about honing in on that message, and you want to have that consistent messaging across the board.
Simon Sinek once said that the goal is not to do business with everybody who needs what you offer. The goal is to do business with people who believe what you believe. Mm-hmm. And I completely subscribe to that, because I know that I do my best work when I'm working with people with whom I have a kinship. So sure. there are just some clients and certain companies that I'm just not going to work with. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I also feel like finding those people who do believe what you believe requires a level of vulnerability on your part, because it means that you have to put a stake in the ground about some things and be honest about the things that you believe.
Birds of a feather tend to flock together, right? I would say do what you can to find a common ground with your message, right? So if you're a doctor, a nurse, working for a clinic, and you're the head of that, you're the marketing person for that clinic, find a common ground with what's happening with the current news with COVID, right? Talk about the statistics in an intelligent way. Yeah. On your, most, and I can speak from this because of So to Save, the organization that I started when this whole thing happened. We've just counted up the amount of masks that we've donated with our over 600 volunteers that have made masks since the beginning of this pandemic. And we've donated over 7,000 masks to the state of Oregon.
Wow.
Which I can't even believe. We just did this yesterday. So I was really excited and proud of our group and our little movement that got created so quickly here in Portland. So clinics are on my mind, right? Because a lot of the clinics is who we serviced during that time. And, so if you're a clinic, let's say, how do you pivot your message in a positive way that's going to, serve your community, but also give and share intelligent facts to your patients, your potential patients, right? Because every clinic now has a public figure page. They've got, whether it's an Instagram page or a Facebook page. Mm-hmm. But, you could even go one step further as a clinic and talk about just be really real.
Right.
How many cases were there actually from your clinic? You know what I mean? I think if people could sort of get down to the brass tacks, and when it comes to promoting the virtues or the values of their particular clinic, right?
Mm-hmm.
That they just get real with what's actually happening within their clinic, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I would recommend for that sector.
Yeah.
For restaurants, I know many owners of restaurants that are, adhering to safety rules so that their customers feel really safe when they come in. And, mothers, for instance, Lisa Schroeder, she's making sure that everybody's temperature is being checked and, at the door. And it's important to promote those items. How will we take care of your safety when you come back to us in a
Right.
public way
Yeah.
versus delivery?
It's going to build trust and I think
Mm-hmm.
consumer confidence, and that's going to be one of
Correct.
the hurdles I think moving forward. But I did want to ask you about SodaSafe because
Okay.
I mean 7,000 masks, that's amazing. Like what a great contribution to the community. I understand that this was a bit of a pivot for you because you are not a manufacturer, you're a PR professional.
Yeah.
So my understanding of SodaSave is that you got volunteers together to sew masks for the medical community. How did that idea come about? And why did you decide, of all things, that you were going to pioneer that? And what has that done for you? Like, has it done anything for your business, or has it just been kind of a side passion project that has nothing to do with your day to day? You just wanted to do it, or does it kind of feed back into it?
So I'll answer the last question first.
Sure.
I wouldn't say it's done anything for my business per se. And I didn't do it for that reason. Basically, what happened was, it would be nice, right? Now that we're bouncing back and people understand that I'm a cause-related publicist, because that's my brand.
Mm-hmm.
It would be nice for people to know that, you know what, you too can create a small movement in a short amount of time. It just takes passion. It takes strategy. Basically, what happened was I was reading all of the news at the beginning, right? This was the beginning of March, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody was talking about how they were running out of masks, that large hospitals around the world were running out of masks.
Yeah.
And that narrative hit me like a ton of bricks. And I started thinking, because I have a lot of friends who are nurses and doctors in the healthcare profession. And I just couldn't imagine, especially here in the United States of America, right? We're the land of plenty.
Yeah.
And so I called my friend who has been a baby nurse in the state of Oregon for over 30 years. She works with one of the largest companies, the largest hospitals. And I said, what is going on? Do you have masks? She said, Lisa, we are delivering babies without any masks.
Oh boy.
I was just like, seriously? How is this possible?
Yeah.
She said, we need 1,000 masks for our department alone. And for our clinic, we need 200. I said, okay, let me see what I can do. And my mind was just racing, right? So my publicity, marketing,
Sure.
messaging mind was like, okay, first of all, I've never done anything like this before. So I immediately called my client, Lisa Schroeder from Mothers. And I said, do you want to do this with me? I need your voice. And she said, yes, absolutely. She was already thinking about it. She wanted to do something. Obviously, she was super busy with, the restaurant and how they had to turn their restaurant into a delivery service, which they had never done before, and everything that she was dealing with. But she said, yeah, I have 3 sewers. And at the time, I had put it out there to my personal Facebook group, and I just said, call all your grandmothers, your great aunts, whoever has a sewing machine, who's in, who wants to do this. We need to help our state of Oregon. Mm-hmm. And I got 20 different people who are friends who said, yep, I'm in. So then we just created a private Facebook group, and then those 20 people started inviting, right, their people within their
Okay.
personal. And then all of a sudden we had 100 people that were interested, and we started. And I called a colleague of mine, Joseph, who has a company named Shiloh Rune, and he's a marketing strategist. He's a web developer. He does so many different things. He's very talented. And I said, okay, I've got a project for us to work on because I always wanted to work with him.
Yeah.
And I said, are you in? Within a week, we got the website up. And then I called because I've been pitching press here in Oregon for 25 years. You know, I actually called one outlet first. It was KGW. And I didn't want to send one press release out to everyone because I wasn't sure how quickly this would, you know,
Sure.
get created. And I didn't want to have way too many requests that we had coming in versus what we could actually deliver on.
Yeah.
So I did it sort of one by one, and I called KGW first. That media interview garnered like 245 more people and more requests. So we went from 1,200 mask requests to, I think, 2,500 mask requests. And it just kept growing and growing. We launched this, it was either April 3rd or April 9th. I have to look. But now we have over 600 mask makers, and we've delivered over 7,000 masks. And it's not just healthcare first responders. We moved it, we expanded it to other first responders as well, like the Oregon Food Bank and law enforcement. And, there were lots of other different departments that weren't necessarily first responders, but they were still servicing their patients, like pulmonary departments and cardiology departments and things like that.
Wow. It sounds to me like you built a community around it during a time when people, I think, more than ever needed a sense of purpose, especially for those who might not have been able to work. And I know that for myself, being able to work on the Float platform, doing the podcast as we are right this second, it has given me a sense of purpose during a time that is incredibly chaotic. I think purpose is integral to feeling fulfilled, and fulfillment is integral to mental health and physical health and all of those things. So thank you for doing that for the community. Like that's huge.
You nailed it. It felt really purposeful for sure. And I think it also gave an opportunity to all of our volunteers purpose and meaning. And, we have countless thank yous and, thank you for allowing us to, be able to have something to do during this time that felt really good that they were giving back.
I think that's wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you for everything.